Welcome back to the Pastor's Podcast. Pastor Scott here with Mariana de Silva.
Hello.
And Leslie Kosier.
Hi.
Thanks so much for doing this, being here, guys. You both have a lot going on. So we're going to talk about Royal Family Kids, but you both have a lot going on in life.
Yes.
I mean, as we're recording this, Mariana, you're like preparing for a baby shower this weekend.
Yes.
And you got family in time, hosting family in town. Lots
very
going on.
Exciting.
When are you due?
I'm due January 10th.
January 10th. Okay. Do you and Adam have is like one of you hoping that it's like after that? Is one of you hoping it's before that? Like, how are you feeling about January 10th? I mean, I know how exact those dates are.
I have no idea. Yesterday, my mom was just saying that I came super early. So we'll see if it ends up being January 10th. But Adam's hoping for earlier for the tax rebate. Like he claimed it on his taxes for this year.
December 31st
yes.
or earlier.
So pragmatic.
So we'll see. I'm not getting induced, so it'll be all like it will happen when it happens.
Okay. So December. Leslie, you are due before then.
Yeah, I'm in 2 weeks.
Okay. You are in the very final stretch.
Yeah.
So if your due date's in 2 weeks, that's kind of an any minute.
Oh yeah.
Thing.
Yeah.
This could be a really entertaining podcast.
Right.
Could be
exactly.
That's right.
Yeah. Have you ever done a podcast in an ambulance with a woman in labor?
I haven't, but there's a first. It would probably be our most listened to.
Yeah.
I don't know what they would think about me, like forcing myself into the ambulance to continue the interview.
There would be questions.
They're like, is this really this important?
Yeah.
How are you feeling about
I'm excited.
Imminent transition?
Oh my gosh. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I have a almost 2-year-old at home. So in addition to anticipating the actual birth, I'm very curious how things at home will change and the dynamics and everything. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it and only a little bit scared. For a big change.
Yeah. Baby in the house is about to become the big sibling, and
yes,
that's a big
exactly. Yeah,
it's a transition.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I'm good though. I was just sharing with both of you that I'm not working now. As of about a week ago, I'm on leave. So it's been nice to have a lot of time to rest and sleep whenever I need to and want to. So yeah, I feel like
now's the time.
Yeah, I'm getting what I need to as much as I can.
And you've done this before, so you're like I know I should get the sleep now.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And every time I don't get the sleep, I'm like, okay, this is prepping me. I feel like I'm working that muscle. Like, okay, I'm getting ready for the lack of sleep. I'm preparing for that. Yeah.
So the theme of this podcast is not having babies.
Yeah, people tuning in are like, what's the title of this episode?
That's right. But it's a both huge part of obviously both of your lives and stories. And these pregnancies were also a huge part of the story of Royal Family Kids because Leslie and Mariana were the directors for Royal Family Kids Camp this past summer. And at the time of the camp, you were both pregnant.
Yes.
Yeah. I was 7 months pregnant. So that was different.
I can't remember how many. I think I was like 3, 4.
Were you still were you still doing the like?
I was just past the like first trimester nausea phase.
Okay.
So it was like God's blessing that I was not nauseous at camp.
You were.
Yeah.
You
I was in
like
a
you
sweet
had
spot.
some good energy.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I was thankful for.
Okay, so I want to hear about camp. I want to hear about your experiences, not just your experiences being pregnant, at camp, but camp generally, and kind of what the Lord's doing. But maybe first, for those that are listening that aren't familiar with Royal Family Kids Camp, can you just give us a quick reminder of what Royal Family Kids Camp is?
Yeah, so Royal Family Kids Camp is basically a 5-day sleepaway camp, Christian camp that we take kids who have been or currently are in the foster care system. And so, yeah, we took around 20 kids, ages 7 and 11, and a little bit more than double the adults. And we just do chapel, we do games, we do crafts, and we just have a lot of fun for a week up at camp, up in the mountains somewhere.
We actually ended up having a few six-year-olds through 12. Did we have a 12-year-old?
I think we had one 11-year-old, almost 12-year-old.
Okay. Yeah. So we had a wider
a little bit of a
range
wider,
than we originally planned for.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe even to take a step back, Leslie, you've done this for a lot of years, been a part of it. Why camp for foster kids? Like, God has given our church a heart for foster kids in a number of different ways. Why camp, and why is this such a kind of key blessing to these families and to these kids?
Yeah, I started volunteering with Royal Family Kids Camp when I was in school back in 2011. And although I didn't have any personal connection to the foster care community at the time, I was intrigued by it because, in that season, I was growing a little bit in my faith and reflecting on my own story, my own journey of, I guess, growing in who I know God to be and processing through different experiences I had had with my own family, while nowhere near the circumstances of what a lot of the children that we serve in Royal Family go through, processing through like just brokenness in general, and broken family units, and also kind of reflecting for myself on how a lot of the healing and resiliency in those things came about for me. And something that stood out to me at the time, in reflecting on this, was really just the role of like mentorship in my life, and how people modeling healthy relationships with each other, adults modeling healthy relationships with each other, with other kids, and also with the church, like all of that was something that I was really fortunate to have in my life, and having seen that and had that experience of building relationships with those adults, like I myself experienced a lot of healing in the things that, I had experienced at home. And so, simply put, I thought, how cool would it be to be able to share that now as a, soon to, at least I thought I was an adult at the time. I don't know. When you're about to graduate from college, now, hard to say. But what felt like at the time was, that I really wanted to kind of be able to be that for somebody else. And so without knowing much about the foster care community, but only knowing maybe just what most of us know, which is that, a lot of the kids aren't with their families, but wanting to learn more. And that kind of led me to be interested in Royal Family specifically, which just happened to be the college fellowship I was involved in. They had sort of this informal partnership with the local Royal Family chapter. And so I thought I would just try it out. And there was sort of this immediate like connection and draw to it that summer when I went as a volunteer to the camp. A fascination with it, an excitement about it. And I really just fell in love with the kids. I fell in love with the mission. And that is that just stayed with me. And so I continued to serve and continued to mentor for many years after that. it just the impact of the work was so tangible. I mean, not necessarily in the way of, oh, me or a friend of mine or someone I know mentored, and I immediately see this child's behaviors change, and they're this, that, and the other thing, and it's like, oh, you can see an A/B, and it's really, really obvious. It's not necessarily that.
This isn't like the Disney movie version.
Right. Yeah. There's not like a montage. And 20 minutes later, you're like, we're changed. It wasn't that necessarily, but I think it was more the continued, steadfast, sacrificial work of so many of the people I was serving alongside. And hearing about the stories of a lot of the children that we were serving, from them, from their families, all of that just made me so acutely aware of the work that God was doing. And it's just something that I've continued to feel called to in different seasons of life. Involvement has varied significantly in different seasons of life. Some of it is, being heavily involved, and, directing is about as involved as you can get. And in other seasons, just having the community on my heart and praying for them. And so, yeah, all that to say, like, that is why I've loved serving in this ministry. That's why when Cornerstone, a few years later, started preaching more about caring for the orphan and foster youth, from the pulpit, that I was excited, because I felt like I had sort of been involved independently in a way for a few years, and then to see that the church, my own church home, was fostering, or no pun intended, but like cultivating their own heart and passion for that community, and a curiosity for how to serve that community. That was really exciting for me. And that's what led me to want to start a chapter with Cornerstone, and why, after a short break or a few years of a break, that I wanted to bring it back. So all of it's just part of this like really long, prolonged season of feeling like this is just something that God has on my heart. Yeah.
Love that. I love that. And I love, even as you describe, and actually, well, maybe to take a quick step back, for those that are listening, maybe are newer to Cornerstone, and they're like, Leslie Kosier, I haven't met her yet. And I hear her voice, but so Leslie's a longtime member of Cornerstone and leader here, and is now a part of Shalom Bible Church, one of our church plants. And so you've been there for the last 3 years.
Celebrating 3 years.
Wow.
Last weekend. I don't remember. We had a celebration last weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah.
So cool. But one of the things that stands out as you talk about that is the vision of how camp isn't just about camp, right? Camp is a piece of this ongoing call of presence. Like the whole point of camp is also to do camp again, right? Mm-hmm. To have these rhythms of connection, to from there develop opportunities for mentorship and presence and ongoing relationship. And so in that sense, camp isn't the end all be all, but it's a huge catalyst for a lot of the opportunities for connection and ongoing work that happen year after year, and that Lord willing happen kind of throughout the years. And so I'm curious from the two of you, from your perspectives as camp directors, what one of the highlights from camp was for you. I think lots of people have told lots of different stories about what. I'm curious, kind of what stood out to you.
So for me, with it being our first year back after several years, I think one of the highlights is pulling it off in the first place. I mean, it was hard to get that momentum started back up again. Lots of conversations, a lot of rebuilding connections with different local churches to get support and get the number of volunteers we needed. And so it didn't come together on a whim. Like it was definitely something
yeah.
that we had to work towards, and pulling it off. Everyone, being safe, and then hearing all of the stories, and seeing all the volunteers shine in their different ways, and like hearing testimonies. Yeah, it was just really cool camp experience, and I'm really excited for next year.
Mm.
Is there anything, Mariana, what stood out to you about being a director versus a counselor this year?
That's a great question.
Yeah. I mean, so I think having a little bit of a bird's eye view was really cool to me. It was surprising. And I think being a director in many ways is a lot like being staff, like in your role where you do different things. You're kind of running around all over the place. And so I was surprised because having been a counselor, my perception of the other side was that you wouldn't get to have as many connections, and it wasn't going to be as fulfilling ministry-wise than having like deeper connections with the campers. But
is that just because you weren't on the front line in that way?
Yeah, I mean,
you weren't the one with the kids.
Because you're not the one with the campers 24/7. So in my mind, it was like, oh, it's not going to be as like, I don't know, deep of an experience. But I actually felt the opposite. Like it was really, really cool to get to see more of what was happening, to get to hear more stories, see more stories. And actually, it was, I mean, a lot of it was facilitating it for the volunteers to make those connections. But I think the Lord just showed me in so many ways, like people's talents, people's passions, people's, just gifts and abilities. And so it was a lot of fun, and it was very fulfilling for me. Yeah. And I was surprised by that. Yeah.
That's cool. What about for you, Leslie?
The question was what?
Okay. So what stood out? Well, what was a highlight? What was that one highlight for you from camp?
Just to plus one what Mariana said. Camp actually just happening is the highlight every year. When we on Friday when we come home, we're like, we did it. No better feeling. I think seeing a new group of people rally around the camp, because as Mariana said, we did so much more new recruiting, etc. It just had a largely new team this year, and it's always a highlight to see individuals bond and unify over this like shared goal of loving on these kids, and to see them fall in love with the kids when people don't always expect. I mean, I really appreciate that. Sometimes people come in, they're like, I'm just going to try this thing. I've never really served in a children's ministry before, but this feels like a good thing to do. And so I'm going to do it. Or, maybe they just haven't been exposed to anything like this before. And then seeing that like heart transformation of realizing or just getting to know the kids made in the image of God, and completely having sort of their hearts just opened and changed by the experience is a highlight for sure. Yeah.
That's so cool. Was there anything, I mean, given all your previous experience, your previous experience as a director, was there anything that surprised you this year in particular?
Anything that's surprised? I think, honestly, not to sound pessimistic, but I think it felt real. The planning and coming together of recruiting and all of that was, I don't know what my expectations were going into it, but I guess in some ways that was a little bit harder than I expected. I think it was more like I felt like Mariana and I were like pushing a boulder uphill more than I thought I would. Having done it for 3 other years, it felt a lot like a year one. And yeah, I guess I don't know exactly what I would have expected otherwise, but the recruiting and everything was a little bit tougher than I would have anticipated for whatever reason. I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, you had all this previous experience, like, and it's for you, it wasn't year one, but enough years had gone by.
And people, I think it's like a lot of people ask about it a lot. When are we bringing it back? It'd be so exciting to have it back, and having that conversation over the course of many years, it almost feels like, this will be great. Oh my gosh, the whole town's gonna be there. And by the time you're actually doing it, then life is happening for a lot of these individuals, and who would have been excited to participate, but for whatever reason can't now. And so, I think that made it a little bit like more challenging than I would have expected for something that I think a lot of people were excited about and are still. Yeah.
What I don't want you to like have to tell somebody else's story, right? And I think the kids' stories are their own stories too. But maybe like generally, what do you think some of the highlights were for the kids? Like, how did that touch down as you saw them interact, saw them engage?
One I can think of is I can't remember if it was like day 1 or day 2 or both, but we were a little bit like, oh no, the kids aren't engaging in chapel. Like, what are we gonna do? Like, we need to, I don't know. But then I think I saw a shift like midway through camp where I just like was so surprised and touched by like how engaged they were by teacher Demetrius and like just how much they were getting out of the story. We were going through Moses and his life and kind of each day building a new block. And so I think I was surprised and touched by how they were getting the story and how out of chapel like conversations were being had about God and so just seeing, I think I was a little bit surprised at how many conversations about God that I was hearing about were happening. And so I think I mean it's kind of hard with the amount of fun we put at camp to not expect them to have fun. Like, they for sure had fun, but I think I was very surprised and also like pleasantly surprised to see like how many of them were engaging and how many of them were like raising their hands and like, oh, I memorized the verse. And seeing that aspect where chapel can feel like the more boring part, but and even the kids being like, I love this song after we sang like the RFK theme song. Just like one of the little boys was like, this song is great. And I'm like, okay, we did it.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Right. Anything different or from your perspective, Leslie, any like things you saw in highlights for the kids?
I think for some of them, and this is not the case across the board. A lot of them are in really loving homes. Excuse me, really loving homes and have been, for a long time. For some of the kids, though, to be so singularly loved on with so much focus. I mean, we have no electronic devices through the week, no distractions like that. And so for so many of the counselors, and some of them are in one-on-one pairings, others you have a counselor with 2 kids, but there's the occasional one counselor to 1 kid that's grouped together. And to have that really, really like focused love and attention given 24/7 over the course of a week, I think is very new maybe some of us would say like that's actually kind of rare across the board, like whether you're in foster care or not. But especially with children who are bouncing around, who, I can think of one camper in particular who we knew was a newer placement, meaning that he had just joined his foster family recently. And at pickup day on Friday when the kids were getting picked up to go back home and the camp was over, this kid was just crying because he kept saying, I don't want to, I don't want you to go. The counselor, I don't want you to go. It wasn't even like, I don't want to go home. It's like, I don't want you to leave. I want to continue to be with you. And so I think that to me is just one of many stories of what some of these campers get to experience, where they get to feel and be loved individually as who they are, be met where they are. And yeah, that's also just an extension of an example of how we're loved by the Lord as well. And yeah, there's definitely a heart change there. I mean, with that camper in particular, we got to see the tangibility of, or an outward example and expression of what it meant to him on Friday. But I think for some of the kids, they may not even always express that, but a lot of them feel it, and you can see it in different ways come out throughout the week. So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
So as we were talking about before, the camp is a powerful piece of this, but your goal isn't just to put on camp once and then kind of be done. As you look forward, like what are your hopes for next year's camp, beyond? Like what are your hopes and desires as you look forward from this experience?
Yeah. So I think for me, the thing that comes front of mind is this year we had like such an excellent leadership team. Like I don't know how we could have done it without Chrissy and Quen. And so I think maybe my number one hope for next year would be to expand a little bit on that leadership team, like get maybe one more person included there. And yeah, I think, and then beyond that, it would be to be able to host other events throughout the year. For example, like the RFK Christmas party as a first step into having or reconnecting with the kids before the camp next year. And I think that would be maybe like a ramp into like mentorship down the line, but it would definitely be something where we bring in a totally different team to do that. And so, yeah, I think, those are our goals immediately for next year. I think it's just kind of getting the team expanding the team a little bit more, to get a little bit more help. And then I think also I'm excited to build the momentum that we built this year and continue that. So getting a group of trained returnees, I think would make next year's camp even stronger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So so kind of step one is to have camp again next year. Let's start there. For somebody who's listening who wasn't a part of camp this year and is like intrigued, but they're like, man, I'm so glad that they're doing that. Why would you encourage them to consider being a part of camp next year if they haven't already? Like if it had, like, how would you encourage them to maybe actually consider being a part of this?
I think I would start with asking them what their reservations are, because there are a variety of reservations that people have for many reasons, and some of them are valid considerations when it comes to whether or not it's a good fit.
Yeah.
And starting with that and having a conversation with either Mariana and I about that, or even chatting with somebody who went to camp, who's not one of us, to talk through some of those things, I think can be helpful. One big one I think that we hear is, or I guess it's sort of a two-parter, is either, I don't feel like I'm a good fit personality wise, or, I don't have experience with kids, that sort of thing. Or just fears of being too attached, or it'll be emotional or too hard. And I think that for both of those, like, I would encourage people to consider how those individuals can be used by God in their very, very unique ways. For example, we chat with a lot of new volunteers who express that they're more introverted and they're shy and they're not necessarily the life of the party when they walk into a room. They kind of feel like this might necessitate that. And, what I always say to those individuals is there's a quiet kid out there who would love to just have someone sit with them in silence. And for every unique person, as unique as you feel, the children are each individually as unique, and there's an opportunity to make a connection because of who you are specifically to a child. And that energy that you bring, they might relate to that. Like, I always feel like I have to be the person who's having fun on the leader on the playground or whatever it is, and I don't feel like I naturally am that, or whatever that child might themselves be struggling with insecurity wise. And to meet someone that can have a quiet confidence about them can be really powerful, just as an example. And I think like those types of things can be talked through, and I would press into those hesitations for an individual. And then there's other things that are just life circumstances that maybe that means it doesn't sound like you're in a right season to come for 5 days straight, but we have a need for a birthday party team. If you'd love to be involved or see what it's about and get a taste, but you can only devote 1 day to it, then like come up with our birthday party team for the day. So there's opportunities like that we can also share about. So yeah, I think for the most part, I always want people to really deeply consider the 5-day experience for sure. But that's not to say that there aren't very, very valid reasons to not be able to do the 5-day and maybe consider a different serving opportunity too. So yeah, I think that there's kind of something for everybody. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's not a ministry where we're looking just for one kind of person. I think we put it on our website, but it's just like a willing heart to serve, and we'll use you in different ways. So yeah, it's just be encouraging people to prayerfully consider. It's and talk with someone who's been there. Yeah.
Awesome. So I heard you say earlier that kind of step one is to build up and keep the momentum from last year and to do camp again next year. Do you have dates for that yet? No. Okay. Next summer. And then a step, kind of the next step beyond that, kind of bridging the gap throughout the year is, wanting to do events like a Christmas party or other just ways to connect with the kids going forward, and kind of as a bridge to the potential for mentorship for kind of throughout the year mentorship that's connected to camp.
We're also still open to that for this year too, like a seasonal. If somebody, let's just say hypothetically, if I were to get a phone call tomorrow and someone was like, I would love to have a Christmas party and lead it. It's not necessarily a 2026, 27 thing.
Got it.
We're still open to having someone help with that.
Okay. I mean, that's really compelling to me, because it seems like ideally the more connection points that exist, right? The more you build on those relationships, you take the trust and you have opportunities to connect. Maybe it's even an opportunity for new kids to get introduced that will end up at camp next summer. And so, both of these women are due in the next weeks or months And so a way that you could serve not only RFK, but both of them, they're obviously not putting on a new event for RFK, but I mean, I love that idea because it's also a way for people who are like, oh man, I love what RFK is doing. I couldn't do like the 5-day thing, at least not, or, I was out of town during the summer, during that part of the summer, and I wasn't able to be involved. Like, there's ways to be involved even now. Like, there's things that people could facilitate and get connected. If people are interested in just learning more and even exploring how the Lord might use them and in this step into connection in the foster care system, what's the easiest step for them to take? To email you?
Just email us, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
rfkwestla@gmail.com.
Okay.
Yeah. One of us will reply.
Awesome. rfkwestla@gmail.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's super exciting. Well, anything else you would, as you think about next year, as you think about the year to come, anything else that you want people to know or want to be on people's minds, or anything they can be praying for as we look forward?
I think maybe just like from a practical standpoint, a quick description of what the seasonal thing is, because I know we've talked about it. People may not necessarily know. We just keep saying Christmas party, but something that would be really helpful, or I guess something we'd be excited about is a better way to put it, would be to have somebody help lead the planning of seasonal events, which would just be like half day type of
like things. Half day on a Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. Some planning beforehand, obviously, but an invitation. A lot of times these are like invitations that go out to all of our families that had campers come, and so when they come, they usually come with their full families, siblings, parents, all that. So it might be a Saturday where we do a Christmas party and we give out presents, and then maybe an Easter party, and then maybe something that's like, what would be amazing would if we could host 3 of them or something, and 3 or 4 between now and next summer. So they're just one-off events for.
And if somebody was like uniquely passionate about St. Patrick's Day, they could do a St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah,
event.
yeah. The holiday is just a vehicle to get together.
Exactly.
So it could be whatever you want it to be. Yeah. So for those who maybe were like, oh, I wonder a little bit. I wonder what that is. Just wanted to share that very short description of what we would be hoping for, as a means of making connections throughout the year, like you mentioned. Yeah.
And then as the last thing, I just wanted to take this opportunity to just say a big thank you. We had more than what we needed in terms of like finances and resources. And I was just like blown away by the faithfulness of everyone who contributed financially. And so, just thank you for that. I think we were, it couldn't have come together without those resources.
And we also learned at camp that a lot of stuff that sits in a really hot room upstairs at church doesn't last for 5 straight years, just sitting in storage. We didn't really discover that until we were there. Every single pop-up tent and marker and all these things are not really working. So all that to say, you all listeners gave abundantly. We're so thankful. We will be using that money, so thanks.
we will be replacing all the canopies.
We have a lot of things that need refreshing and renewing. So it's really a blessing to us to go into next year having, sort of like a jump start on being able to bring things that work, supplies that work to camp.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, also if people are interested and intrigued in being a part of it next year, when will we start hearing about that, or when will kind of recruitment for that start in earnest?
There might be, let's say if
you're both trying to figure out what, like right in between our babies. I know.
You're gonna ask me what now? No. I think I could see a save the date situation happening before the end of the year with more active recruitment come January 2026. That would be like my rough estimation now. I don't know.
We're working
Mariana.
hard to lock down the campground for next year. So once that's locked down, we'll know the dates, and so then we can send save the dates for people who are interested and open that application pretty early. Yeah.
Awesome. And I'm sure that's even a process that you guys could use help with, prayer, administrative help. Yeah.
For what you were asking, about prayer requests, like
campground.
There's a camp. We've gone to several different campgrounds over the past few years, and there's some that have suited our needs better than others. The ones that we would be interested in going back to next summer are not available. So we're praying for a facility that we feel like suits our needs and also helps in the mission of treating the kids royally. And it's, a really nice facility would be amazing. So just prayers for scheduling and all that to work out with finding not only a place that we like, but also that they'd have availability.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Absolutely. Okay. We'll definitely be praying for that. I'm praying for the two of you, praying for this season, excited for you, so thankful for your sacrifice and for the work that you both put in to make this possible. I mean, the way in which both of you have led us and led our church in this direction is a huge blessing and makes and is really continues to form and shape who we are as a church. And so I can't thank both of you enough for the way the Lord's using you as well. And if you're listening and intrigued at all, we'd love for you to be a part of this as well. It's just an exciting way the Lord provides opportunities for us to love and care for in many ways, the most marginalized, and sometimes the most unseen in our city. And so an open door to that is a huge opportunity. So thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for being a part of this with us. Thanks for all you who were participating in RFK in one way or another. And thank you for listening. We love you, and we'll see you on Sunday.